Hello, my true crime lovelies. How are you? I hope you are well. In fact, I hope you are as lovely in life as you are in my mind. All right, we're going to get into Lori Vallow Daybell today. A lot of you have commented, like me, you did not watch the first trial that was in Idaho when she was accused of, or convicted actually, of the murder of her two children, JJ and Tylee, as well as Chad's wife, Tammy Daybell. So I was thinking about how we were going to go through the timeline, and I don't want to make it long and arduous because there's a lot of people and a lot of different little tangents. I found the probable cause for her arrest, and I think that's going to get us through for the start of the trial, and then we'll get into it deeper and deeper. I don't want you to feel like you have to go watch 10 videos to get ready for the trial, you know? So let's go over the probable cause, and then I found an interesting video and I shared it with the members on Saturday. So they've already seen it, but there's two clips I want to show you about why she's claiming that she is, one, going pro se, and two, the speedy trial situation, because we've talked about that being problematic. But let's get the intro rolling so I can thank my over 300 members for their support of me, and then we'll get into it. I'll see you on the other side. All right, shout out to all the members, to Liberty, to Justice, and of course to my sugar bear. All right, let's get into this. So State v. Vallow, there are some redactions here. Where I could, I filled them in where appropriate. This first redaction, I believe, is also State v. Alex Cox, but he died. So Chandler Police Report 2019, synopsis: on 7/11/2019 at 8:32 hours, the Chandler Police Department was called to the address of redacted South Four Peaks Place in Chandler, referencing a shooting. The caller, who identified himself as Alex Cox, indicated that he had shot his brother-in-law, Charles Vallow, in self-defense. As a result, a homicide investigation took place and all pertinent parties to the incident were interviewed. The scene was also processed and analyzed based on these interviews. At the conclusion of the investigation on 7/11/2019, there was concern about a potential bullet strike on the ground near Charles Vallow's body. There was also concern regarding the timeline of events that came to light in the days following the homicide. None of these concerns would immediately provide probable cause for the arrest of anyone present at the time of the murder, and more investigation was necessary. So one of the issues, Lori said she was there when the shooting happened. She heard it but didn't see it, and we'll go over her investigation or her interrogation. Alex said she was not there. Also, Lori went through the drive-thru at Burger King a little before 8 o'clock, and you'll see this call came in at 8:32. And so if she heard the shooting, and then she's at the drive-thru before 8 o'clock, why does it take so long for Alex to call? So we'll listen to both of their interrogations later this week. In the weeks following the murder of Charles Vallow, investigators learned that Charles and Lori Vallow were experiencing turmoil in their marriage. As a result, Charles moved Lori into the residence on Four Peaks Place with Lori's daughter, Tylee Ryan, and their adoptive son, JJ Vallow, who was diagnosed with autism. Charles Vallow remained in Texas and came into town to visit on 7/10/2019. When looking into the relationship between Lori and Charles, it was learned that Lori had accused Charles of infidelity, which led to their separation, which is kind of rich considering all things, because we know at that point she's sleeping with Chad Daybell, right? Pot calling the kettle black. Okay, so it was also learned that during the uncertainty of their relationship, Lori left JJ with Charles and disappeared for over 2 months. Pretty sure she was with Chad. It was also learned that Charles was concerned for Lori's mental health, as she had begun to express that she was selected to prepare 144,000 people for the end of the world. It's interesting that they're saying it was learned. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that these are the detectives learning this, because we've already seen the body cam footage where he's obviously concerned and he's telling the police. So that's not a new discovery. But like I said, benefit of the doubt for these investigators that it's new. So, concerned for her well-being and that of the children, Charles filed a mental health petition asking for a mental health evaluation. In this petition, Charles talked about how Lori had told him that he was possessed by a dark spirit by the name of Ned Schneider. Lori would even refer to Charles in conversation and documentation by the name of Ned. This turmoil in the relationship can be substantiated through police records, court orders, police body camera footage, cell phone records, and witness testimony. On October 3rd, 2019, the Chandler Police Department learned of the attempted murder of Brandon B. Brandon Boudreaux, I put that in there, on 10/02, because that's her next case. What am I trying to say? Yeah, the next case is State of Arizona versus Lori for the attempted murder of Brandon Boudreaux, which was the then husband of her niece, Melanie, who is now Melanie Pulowski. On 10/2/2019, Brandon reported that someone shot at him when he was arriving home while he was exiting his vehicle in front of his Gilbert residence. He indicated that the shot was fired from the back of a Jeep Wrangler parked down the street from his residence. Brandon suspected that the shooter was possibly Alex Cox. Brandon further reported that Lori Vallow was to blame for his impending divorce from his wife, Melanie Boudreaux, who she's Boudreaux at this time, or Melanice. I've heard now Kathy from the head gossip, Kathy from Gossip, Rumor, and Innuendo, and I've also heard that from Gigi McKelvey over at Pretty Lies and Alibis. They call her Melanice because there's another Melanie involved, Melanie Gibbs, who is Lori's friend. So Melanice, the niece to Lori. Brandon B. then provided authorities with insight into the extreme religious beliefs of Lori Vallow and Alex Cox. Brandon suspected that these beliefs, led him to lose his wife and also led to the murder of Charles Vallow. While continuing to investigate the murder of Charles Vallow, Kay Woodcock, grandmother of JJ Vallow, contacted Detective Moffat and was concerned about JJ. This is Charles Vallow's sister. She indicated that she had not heard from JJ and that Lori was not allowing him to call or video message her and her husband. It was discovered that Lori had relocated to Rexburg, Idaho, with Alex Cox. Idaho authorities were asked to conduct a welfare check on JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan. During this welfare check in November of 2019, Lori indicated that the kids were staying with Melanie Gibb in Arizona.
Our car's out there too. What? And blue. Blue Subaru.
Hi, you Lori. Lori, I'm Lieutenant Ball, Police Department. How are you? You got a minute? You alone or you got help?
My brother's here.
Okay. Let's pick up these gloves.
To meet you.
So, we're here.
Oh, this is a big mess. I just talked to the guy on the phone.
And what did he ask you?
He was just saying that he wanted to do a well check on JJ.
So, JJ would be where?
He's in Arizona.
Who's he with in Arizona?
He's with one of my friends in Arizona.
Oh. Oh, right. You got a notepad?
No. Oh, you want?
No. Come here. Mikey comes in.
Oh.
So,
Sorry.
who's the friend he's with?
My friend Melanie. Her son has autism, Her name's Melanie Gibb. I gave him all the information on the phone.
Okay, so he can call
Yeah.
her this part.
Yeah. What is all this?
We're a little
What is
concerned
Right.
because, well, the officers who were here earlier
Yeah.
were checking, and they got a bad vibe, like something was going on here because nobody knew anything about the child. They weren't talking.
It's because a lot of stuff has gone on. If you want to know, it's a lot of stuff. So.
Well, that's why we're concerned, because it just was kind of weird.
It is very weird. I've had to move around a lot. One of my brothers is trying to kill me. Not the brother that lives here, obviously. He's kind of my protector. My other brother was in with my husband, who was trying to kill me for my $2 million life insurance policy. So a lot of stuff has gone on in this last year. It's been a horrible year for us. I've had to move around. And so I was going to move back to Arizona, put my son back into school there, because I tried to put him in school here at public school in Kennedy.
Okay.
He went for 2 months. He tried it, but he had such a hard time. Now, the person who called is my sister-in-law, but she's his natural grandmother. He's adopted by us. Okay, so her son, who is a drug addict, had a baby with a girl who's a drug addict, and they took him from, CPS took him.
Okay.
Gave him to the grandmother. She came and got him, and then she wanted us to adopt him, which we did. And we loved him.
By us?
My husband and I, who died earlier this year.
Okay.
He passed away. Since he passed away, she's been trying to fight me for him and being really horrible to me and that kind of stuff. She's kind of the paternal friend.
Okay, thank you.
Does that make sense?
That's what the paternal grandmother.
And he has autism and ADHD. He doesn't really talk to people. Like he's very special needs. So I had him in a special needs school there. She was trying to. So what happened was, my husband, who we were married for 15 years and had raised all these 5 kids together, switched his life insurance policy to her, right? To his sister,
Okay.
who got $1 million when he died. And we got nothing. For me to raise JJ, and all the kids got nothing, and everybody got nothing. She got $1 million. So I knew she was going to try to sue me for him, or yeah, because she now has this $1 million, so she can hire people to help him, and I have nothing. So
But you have legal custody.
He's my son. I adopted him.
Right.
He was 2 years. We had him from the time he was 8 months old till 2 years old. So she does nothing that wants to cause me trouble. So I don't tell people the truth about where we are and what we're doing because of those reasons. So I look like a suspect, but I am a good person. Raised all of my kids. I've done everything that I'm supposed to do in life. But everything is causing me trouble right now. So
We don't want to cause a lot of trouble. How long have you been here?
we've only been here since September.
Okay.
We moved up here in September. My daughter goes to BYUI.
Your daughter goes to BYU?
Yeah.
Does she live here?
Mm-hmm. So it's been a nightmare. But I'm going to go back to Arizona so I can put him back in the special needs school. He couldn't do the school here. It was too hard for him. He would scream and cry and take him to school. The principal would have to come out, try to drag him out of the car. Like, it's too hard. But I just don't tell people where I am. I don't tell her where I am ever.
Okay.
And she doesn't have any legal rights to anything. Like, she's been horrible to me since my husband died.
My understanding, she never called you to try to get the child, hey, I'm interested in the child back, but
I know, but she sends me these emails with, like, the date and, like she's putting up court stuff, like, she's documenting. I haven't heard from him in all this time, and so I've told her that he's fine, but
See, and we hadn't heard any of that as far as.
I'm just saying she's doing this as part of that, is my understanding.
And our only concern in this whole thing
Is that she's fine.
is the child.
I got it.
And so that's where we're at on the. And then
So
we
I
were just a little weirded out when, and I understand now that we've heard your side of the story.
It's awful. I feel like I'm being tracked all the time. I'm like, why are police coming to my car? What did I do?
They said they were out visiting 2 guys, and I'm assuming one's your brother.
Yeah.
Who was the other one? The other guy they were visiting with. There were 2.
Missed him.
Well, we had 2 detectives over here trying to,
Looking for you a little while ago.
Oh, because I was at the store.
and they ran into, well, probably one of your brothers. in
My
the back
brother
there.
and his friend, probably.
Oh,
He's
who's
been
that?
moving. Chad?
Chad from around? What's his last name? Yeah, okay. Alright.
So it's just a mess, but it's constantly causing me trouble.
Chad the Daybell?
He's an author.
Doesn't he live like out in the? He's not the Chad Daybell. His wife passed away recently. Is that him?
I don't know,
But it is Chad Daybell. Yeah.
but it sounds familiar as an author.
I think I know one of these. He's got a couple of daughters.
He has lots of kids.
Okay. I'll bet it's safe. Alright. Well, you need anything else? Sorry to bother you.
Thank you.
We don't mean to be a
I'm
problem.
sorry that people are constantly knocking on me. They are looking for me, and I just don't want to be found. So,
Have you had problems? Because I think we only had.
the reason I'm moving is because the brother that was going to kill me, that was on emails and texts with my husband at the time, he was showing up here, so he found out where I was, and he was knocking on my door.
No, this was your brother?
One of my brothers.
Showed up here and was knocking on your door.
He lives in Kansas.
And you said something about you were getting threatening emails?
Well, no. Just after my husband passed, I found emails and texts between them that they were planning all this stuff to get rid of me.
Do we need to worry about him coming over?
Well, that's why I'm moving back. I'm moving, and I'm not going to be in a place. I'm going to live with my friend, Melanie. Don't tell anybody her name, Dib, because I don't want anything in my name. I put the apartment in my name, but I've been staying over here with my brother because he protects me.
Okay.
He's very protective of me, so.
If he shows back up, you can call, take care of it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's just a nightmare. I mean, I canceled the insurance policy because my husband passed, so there's no money if they can. And what are they going to do with JJ and Patty? Like, what do people think?
Yeah.
So.
Well, if you have a problem, shows back up, feel free to call us. We'll come in front of Bob or something. Okay? All right. Okay, get out of here. Safe watching.
Thank you.
See ya.
Not.
Melanie, the one living up here, supposed to be her daughter, Lori's daughter?
No, this was the friend that she's going back down to live with, she said.
Right. She's got a daughter named Melanie.
Let's just see if she will call and have Melanie get a hold of Hope and just do a verification. Because apparently she's not answering the phone down there.
Lori? All right, Lori, sorry to bother you again. Yeah, we're having Melanie get hold of your friend down there.
No. Well, they were going to Frozen 2 today, so they may be after this.
Could you get a hold of her at some point and say, can you please call back the officer that's been trying to call you?
Okay, sure. Yeah, because I think they are at the movies right now.
Okay.
I'll call her.
He's been trying to call her, or other officer. She's not answering.
Okay.
But if they're at the movie, that's...
Probably at Frozen 2 right now.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing he wanted to do.
I'm frozen too.
Yeah. So,
A whole winter here was probably why.
yeah. So if she'll just return his call, that'd be great. Okay, thanks.
Investigators contacted her and determined that this was not the case. So originally she was going along with it, Melanie Gibb, and then after it seemed serious to her, she was like, oh, no, he's not here. Lori also told another witness that JJ and Tylee went to stay with Kay Woodcock. This was obviously not the case either, right? Because why would Kay be looking for someone who's with her and calling Lori asking to speak with someone who's at her own home? During this time, investigators learned that Lori Vallow had married Chad Daybell, who was a resident of Rexburg, Idaho. Strangely, Chad's wife, Tammy Daybell, died in her sleep on 10/19/2019. Lori and Chad would marry within a month of Tammy's passing. I believe they also purchased wedding rings. I don't remember if it was right before Tammy's death or if it was before Charles, or maybe it was right after, but I know it was on Charles's Amazon account. It was like it was green. I can't remember what it's called, the metal and the stone. But anyway, they had it all planned out. So as a result, investigators from the Chandler Police Department, Gilbert Police Department, Rexburg Police Department, Fremont County Sheriff's Office, and the Federal Bureau of Investigations, ma'am, they pulled out all stops, began to coordinate efforts to locate JJ and Tylee and also investigate the respective cases within their jurisdiction. So the missing children moved to the top of the priorities, right? Because one is autistic. They're both, I can't remember. I think Tylee was 17 at this time, and it's just weird. No one knows where they are. Then you've got Charles, who's been murdered. You've got Tammy dying under suspicious circumstances. So it's getting heightened, right? As a result of the data recovered, it was believed that none of the mentioned crimes were coincidence or justifiable. So this is when they determined that Charles being murdered by Alex is not self-defense, right? It's not a coincidence. It's not justifiable homicide. Specifically to Chandler, the evidence shows that Charles' death was a planned event and necessary to prevent Charles and others from confronting Lori about her extreme religious beliefs when he came to town on 7/11/2019. So he came the night before, but maybe they mean when he went into her house. The death of Charles Vallow was also necessary in order for Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow to marry and fulfill their religious prophecy. So no divorce. Divorce is not an option anymore. It's not like Lori is a stranger to divorce. Chad is number 5. It was discovered that Lori Vallow believed she was an exalted goddess, and she and Chad were directed to lead 144,000 people in preparing for the end of the world. Through this investigation, many witnesses came forward and provided insight into this belief system. Using these interviews and the data gathered from the above-mentioned warrants, several others who shared Lori and Chad's belief system were identified. Those pertinent to the investigation were identified. This is redacted, but I suspect it has in there Alex, Zulema, and Melanie Boudreaux Pulowski. It was discovered that Lori and Chad believed that they had extraordinary abilities. Some of these abilities included the power to teleport and cause harm to others, the ability to call up natural disasters, the ability to pray away demonic spirits attached to others, and also visionary capabilities. So why didn't they teleport Lori out of jail? Because she was in there first, a while before Chad. What, did their powers break up because they couldn't touch each other? Like, somebody help me out. Because of these abilities provided to them, they felt that they were qualified to tell whether someone had a light or dark scale associated with them. This scale would indicate whether or not they had demonic spirits attached to them. Lori and Chad would often refer to these dark spirits by actual name, by a certain level of spirit, or by using the term zombies. Lori and Chad also shared a trust level in referring to others. In examining the data, these dark scales were attached to Brandon, Charles, JJ, and Tylee. Many others were also provided with dark and light scales. Coincidentally, if you shared their belief system, your score was favorable. Is that a coincidence? If you offered any opposition to their belief or their destiny, you were seen as possessed, right? Get rid of anybody who doesn't agree with me. In reviewing the documents collected by the agencies involved, the following would show that Lori and Alex conspired to murder Charles Vallow on 7/11/2019. The first evidence to cause harm to Charles Vallow was discovered in text messages between Zulema and Lori Vallow on 11/3/18. So about 6-7 months before, maybe 8 months, right? November, and then it was July. Yeah, 8 months before. Zulema is a friend of Lori Vallow's and also the widow of Alex Cox. Zulema's cellular phone was seized and data extracted by the Gilbert Police Department after the death of her husband, Alex Cox. On 11/3/2018 at 14:40, so 2:40 hours, Zulema tells Lori that she was told by God that she is to protect Lori. In January of 2019, Zulema told Lori that she had a vision that she could create storms and fire and will have the eye of the Lord. On February 6, 2019, at 16:06 hours, so a little after 4 o'clock, Lori texted Zulema telling her that Charles was blocking her gifts. From this point forward, there is specific conversation to cause harm to Charles Vallow, who has also been referred to as a dark spirit called Hiplos or Ned. So there's a lot of redactions here, about 2.5 pages. Then we go through text messages between Lori and Charles that were seen on Charles's phone. Lori would return to Texas on June 3rd, 2019. So June 3rd, 2019 at 21:32 hours. What is that? 8:32, 9:32. Lori to Zulema. Just got home and got JJ to sleep. Let's go spiritually together tonight and work on him. We give the timing to the Lord, but we don't need to relent. This is war. 6/19/2019 at 21:20 hours. Zulema to Lori. Oh, and can you meet me at the temple in the morning? I have time tomorrow and we can work on Hiplos. Looking into Lori Vallow's web history using Redacted, I saw that a web search was conducted on 6/21/2019 for Social Security disability. Utilizing the URL attached to this web search, it took me to a Social Security disability application. This form allowed you to enter the applicant's information to be able to obtain a free benefits evaluation. This search is of importance as it would indicate an inquiry as to the benefits that Lori would be entitled to. In a text message that Lori sent to Chad Daybell on 7/18/2019, 1 week after Charles was murdered, she indicated the following. So I talked to the insurance company. He changed it in March. So it was probably Ned before we got rid of him. They can't tell me to who, of course, but it's done. I'll still get $4,000 a month from SS, from Social Security. So she's familiar with this because she was getting Social Security for Tylee because her father had died. And so, yeah, she's not getting the life insurance. That's what she was referring to, the $1 million, because as we listened to in our last video, Charles had changed that to his sister. Lori would not have known this without completing the online benefit evaluation. So she completed it. When was the search? She completed that in June, and then they murdered Charles the next month. Lori would not have known this without completing the online benefit evaluation. Furthermore, the Social Security Administration did not have any contact with Lori until she attended an appointment with them on August 12th, 2019 at 13:30 hours, 1:30. This appointment date was located in Lori's iCloud account. It was at this time that Lori was provided with the actual amount of the benefit, which was close to the $4,000 she reported to Chad in July. On 6/22/19, Alex Cox entered the conversation regarding Hiplos or Charles Vallow. On 6/22/19, Alex started to text Redacted from a redacted phone number. Through a search warrant, this number was identified as belonging to Alex Cox. On 6/22/2019 at 19:02, so 7:02 hours, Alex sent Redacted a message. Hey, Redacted, it's Alex. 6:27:19 at 10:18 hours. Redacted to Lori. Do you think there's a way to change Hiplos to the light? On 6/29/2019, Charles Vallow discovered a fictitious letter that Lori sent to Chad Daybell. This letter was written as if it was from Charles Vallow, asking Chad Daybell to come to Arizona to assist him with writing a book. This discovery would send everything into action. Charles confronted Lori about the fictitious letter, accusing her of writing the letter so Chad Daybell could provide a reason to his wife to come to Arizona to visit Lori, right? So he would say, hey, this man wants me to come out to help with this. He would be telling that, Chad would be telling that to Tammy, and then on a plane he would go, when in fact he was going to visit Lori, and Charles knew nothing about it. Charles asked Lori to come clean about her relationship with Chad Daybell by the end of the day, or he would contact Tamara Daybell and inform her of the relationship. Oh, I wish he had done it. Following the discovery of this letter, Charles Vallow began talking to Adam, Lori and Alex's brother, about his discovery as well as Lori's radical beliefs. The two then communicated with each other to plan an intervention on or around July 10th, 2019. Charles had arranged to come to Arizona and also arranged travel for Adam. During this time, Zulema, Lori, and Chad continued to message about Charles, aka Hiplos. Then we've got a few redactions here. There was no obvious communication found between Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell to show that he was directly involved with the planning of Charles Vallow's murder. Lori Vallow found out about Adam coming to town through her mother and I think Melanie Pulaski. I spelled Melanie wrong there, but you know who I meant. Which at the time was Melanie Boudreau. Lori found out about the potential intervention on July 9th, 2019. She reached out to Alex Cox. So she found out the day before Charles landed in Arizona. She reached out to Alex Cox, Zulema, and Melanie to warn them of the elaborate plan that Adam and Charles had. Adam and his son, Redacted, were picked up at the airport on July 10th, 2019 by, I believe it's Lori's mother or his mother. Redacted provided Lori with updates. I believe that is the mother. I tried to only put it in when I was like 99% sure. This one I'm about 80%. So do with that what you will. Fill in what you will based on your knowledge. Regarding Redacted whereabouts and asked Lori if she wanted to run interference. Lori told Redacted that she was trying to figure it out. There's no indication who Redacted was talking about killing. In text messages found on the Redacted iCloud, Alex asked Lori if she wanted to have their mother do a preemptive strike and confront Adam. Redacted told their mother no and asked that she just collect information. Which I think it's Lori, but I'm not sure why they would have rejected that. Based on the text messages that were located, it was apparent that they were trying to keep Adam away from Alex and come up with a plan of their own. Lori told her sister that she was headed to Alex's house on 7/10 at 15:58 hours, 3:58. During this time, she continued to message Charles and never once confronted him about her knowing that something was planned. Lori reached out to Zulema and convinced her to cancel a trip to Utah for a wedding, telling her, "You can't go at all. We both need to stay here to defend ourselves," Lori added. "It's coming to a head. This week will change everything." Lori would also tell Alex, "Getting sleepy, so I'm going to need you to stay close to me the next couple of days." Z2. She can't go to Utah. They are planning some kind of intervention, but want Z out of the way, so I'm left alone. I need to come get the stuff at your house tomorrow and secure it. Lots to do. Thank you for standing by me. It's all coming to a head this week. It will be like Nephi, I am told. And so I will be like Nephi, I am told. And so will you, Heart. On July 11th at 7:35 hours, so 7:30 in the morning, Charles Vallow arrived at Redacted South Peaks Place to pick up JJ. When he arrived, he texted Adam telling him that Alex was there. Adam told Charles, they were planning something. And Charles stated, absolutely. Adam indicated that he was supposed to spend the night with Alex, but Lori probably blocked this. Following the murder of Charles Vallow, Lori took his rental vehicle and cellular phone. The GPS data associated with the phone indicated that the phone left the residence at 7:49 hours. So what time did Charles get there? He got there at 7:35. So it's like 10, 15 minutes. 19 minutes. Lori then went to Burger King to get food for JJ, Walgreens to get flip-flops for her and Tylee, and finally returned home at 8:48 hours. So if she left at 7:49 and she by her own mouth heard the shot but didn't see it before she left, that let's give her 1 minute, right? To be generous. Let's say she heard the shot at 7:48. She gets Tylee, they go out to the car. JJ was already out in the car allegedly, and they get out of there. Alex doesn't call the 911 until 8:32. What took so long? That's over half an hour. Almost, what is that? Almost 45? What was that? 40 minutes? Somebody got some splaining to do. Alex Cox and then she returned at 8:48. So he calls at 8:32. She's there like 10 minutes, 14 minutes after. So Alex Cox would not call 911 until 8:32 hours to report the shooting. When reporting the incident, Alex indicated that it just happened.
Yes.
You need police or paramedics?
Both. I'm in police and an ambulance.
What's the emergency there?
I got in a fight with my brother-in-law and I shot him in self-defense.
Okay, let me get the medics on the phone. How long ago did this happen?
A couple of minutes.
He was provided with CPR instructions and he acted as if he was performing life-saving measures on Charles. It was not until emergency personnel began life-saving measures that they saw blood coming from Charles's body. This would indicate that Alex performed no emergency aid, right? Because you would have expected blood to already be coming out if he had been doing anything that he was pretending to do on that phone call we listened to. So this would indicate that Alex performed no emergency aid. Based on this timeline, Charles would have laid dead or dying for approximately 43 minutes before Alex called 911. During this time, phone records indicated that Alex called Lori. So at that point, he has no car. He has no cell phone because his wife has left with those and the children. We have Alex alone with the body for about 43 minutes. Within that 43 minutes, he has called Lori. I don't know if he called her like right before he called 911 and said he was about to call 911 because he called at 8:32 and she was back at 8:48. So maybe he was like, head on back now, because the police were there when Lori got back. We've seen that footage with her outside of that red car. I think it's like an SUV, and Tylee. So Lori, Tylee, and Alex told investigators about a physical altercation that was started by Charles. During this altercation, Lori left the residence with Tylee and JJ. As they were leaving, Tylee and Lori reported hearing a gunshot. Based on this investigation, it has been proven how valuable that Alex Cox was to Lori. His mission on this earth was to protect his sister. The shot into Charles' body as he laid on the floor and the delay in calling 911 would also validate their desire for him to die, right? They didn't give him a fighting chance. If you're doing this in self-defense, well, first of all, if you're doing it in self-defense, when you ran into the room to get a gun, you could have just as easily ran into the room, locked the door, and called 911, right? Even if he was going to beat the door down with the bat, you would still buy yourself some time. And once you called 911, if you still thought he was a threat and he broke through the door, you could hold him with the gun and say, I've already called 911. Calm down, dude. None of that happened. And I know, like, it's a stand your ground thing. It's neither of their houses, technically. I mean, Charles is paying the rent for Lori, but it's not like Alex is standing his ground in his own home, you know? So, anyway, in addition, Lori told police that Alex was asked to stay at her house to protect her from Charles when he arrived on 7/11/2020. Alex denied this and stated that he stayed at the house because they were going to go to a water park or go shooting on 7/11/22, which is weird because he lived in the neighborhood. You couldn't just come over in the morning, you know? As part of this investigation, are you agreeing that that's weird? Did that seem strange to you too? As part of this investigation, Alex performed a walkthrough for investigators. Alex indicated that as Charles was coming at him, he shot him twice in the chest while Charles was standing. Trajectory at autopsy discovered that one of these shots would be consistent with this statement. This shot would have gone through Charles and ended up in the baseboard. However, the second shot entered below Charles's rib cage and exited through his upper left shoulder, causing a shored wound and defect in the flooring where Charles was found. This angle would indicate that Charles was already laying on the floor when this second shot was fired, right? So it's shored because it was on the ground and going through his flesh, and there's a defect in the floor because it was on the ground. So he was not standing. After the murder of Charles Vallow, additional text messages and emails were located that would indicate the murder was intentional and according to a master plan. One of these was a message sent to Lori from Chad Daybell. The message read, "I got the inspiration to go back to my original death percentages that helped us track Charles, Ned, etc. Tammy is very close. Her percentage has fallen steadily since Hiplos left. It's encouraging. Flappy heart, kisses." Messages on Redacted's phone would also show the intentionality of the murder of Charles Vallow. 7/11/19/23/31, so 11:30 at night, redacted to Lori. "As I was working on Hiplos today in the temple, I was told he will be taken as he is. IDK what that means. Then I was shown to only put light, the brightest light, from the top and the bottom at the same time, meeting in the middle. So I've been doing that all day." Which sounds like Zulema, right? So on the 12th of July at 22:36, 11:36 at night, Alex to Zulema. "Oh, okay. Hiplos is gone. It was a Nephi and Laban ending. I will tell you more when I see you in person or when you see Lori in person. I'm leaving for Chile on Monday for 2 weeks." 7/12, redacted to Julie, right? "I'm just happy it's over." According to Mormon doctrine, Nephi is a prophet in the Book of Mormon and is commanded by his father, Lehi, to return to Jerusalem to obtain brass plates that contain genealogy records from Laban. Nephi and his two brothers, Laman and Lemuel, return to Jerusalem. When Laman attempts to get the plates from Laban, he is chased off in fear of his life as Laban says he will slay him. They later return to Laban with all of their valuables and are chased off again. Nephi later goes to Laban's house and finds him passed out drunk. Nephi is commanded to slay Laban, and he was delivered into Nephi's hands. Nephi uses Laban's sword to kill Laban. So make of that what you will. If Lori is Nephi, I guess Charles is Laban, but then who in the heck is Alex in that little analogy? The story can be found in the Book of Mormon, 1 Nephi chapters 3-4. Through interviews conducted with redacted and redacted, the belief system regarding dark spirits and zombies was revealed. Both witnesses were in direct communication with Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell and were being provided instructions regarding their missions to prepare for the second coming of Christ. Both indicated that they were told long before 7/11/2019 that Charles had died and his body was taken over by an evil spirit. Both witnesses gathered with Lori Vallow prior to 7/11/2019 to try and pray the spirits out of his body so Charles's spirit would no longer be in limbo. When Lori found out about Charles and Adam were coming to town, she believed that they were going to kill her for her life insurance. In truth, they were trying to have an intervention with her and probably have her committed. Anyway, on 7/9/2019, Lori reached out to Zulema for help. Lori told Zulema in a text message that she needed to speak with her ASAP. Zulema replied, and Lori indicated that she was on the phone trying to figure out what to do. Lori then asked for the assistance of Zulema and Alex Cox to stand by her side for protection. This was when Lori made the comment about being told she was going to be like Nephi. Redacted and Redacted have both included that Lori got her advice and direction from Chad Daybell. When giving instructions, Zulema stated that Lori would always say, "I have been told." Messages identified above have indicated that Chad Daybell was aware of the work with zombies, and specifically the work that Zulema and Lori were doing on Charles prior to 7/11/2019. Based on the above synopsis and a myriad of other facts gathered in this case, it is recommended that Lori Vallow and Redacted, which I believe, like I said at the top, that is Alex Cox, be charged with conspiracy to commit murder for the death of her husband, Charles Vallow, on 7/11/2019. So that is the hot mess that is her probable cause. My hair has changed like 15 different times because I'm recording this over hours. Anyway, that's her probable cause. Clearly, they were plotting against Charles Vallow, right? And they were up to no good. And it seemed like it got heightened when Charles planned the intervention with Adam. I'm not sure who revealed what to whom, but I know it's a close-knit family. It sounds like maybe the mom said that Adam and the grandson were coming. In the interview that we heard before, Adam mentioned that Charles purchased his flight on like his award miles, but then he told his mom that it was on his wife's award miles. And for some reason, Lori got wind of that and then was like, how are those reward miles going, or some other such foolishness. So let's listen to, because I talked about, Lori's obviously pro se, and she is pushing her right to a speedy trial, even though she's already doing life. It really doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, she doesn't have her forensic analysis of the phone that she wanted of her husband's phone when she was referring to Charles. And it's just like all rush. And so here's a little insight into why she might be rushing.
I've been so curious to talk to you for a long time. First and foremost, I want to ask you, why did you decide to represent yourself at this trial?
There's lots of reasons. Obviously, being pro per is not an easy job. I'm not an attorney. I don't have training to be an attorney. There's something that I figured out when I got to this jail. This experience has been 5 years running. I went through a whole trial, before in my other state. And then I was brought here to Arizona to face some more serious charges. And I came here with the intention of having a speedy trial. I wanted to, these charges came first, right? So they're like 5 years old. So I first talked to the attorneys. I was like, they've had 5 years, the prosecutors, to put their case together. And I really want to go to trial. Like, we need to go. I'm in a max pod, with the max women. And there's about 8 women in my pod facing death penalty. These women have been waiting for their trials for 5, 6, 7, 8 years to go to trial in a jail. During this experience, I've been in 4 different facilities during this experience. Right.
So she claims to be advocating for these women who she knows absolutely nothing about to get a speedy trial. And that's why she is going pro se, pro per. To me, that doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Because like she said at the top, she is not a lawyer. Why not trust what the lawyers are doing? And these other women, she's complaining that they're there 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Ma'am, you're doing 3 life sentences, irrespective of what those other women are doing. So unless it's just like a last what is it called? The last swan dance for her. What she said so far makes no sense, but then she's going to go on. So I have another flip to this one.
So you're fighting for the other inmates here who are waiting for their time in court.
This is what I found out. Arizona, different from other states. And I only know the 2 states because I've only...
Now, she didn't answer the question. She said, so you're fighting for these other women. That is a yes or no. Now she's going on about Arizona. So maybe she's trying to pretend to be an advocate for other women, but I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm not into doing crimes. If you're thinking about it, my 2 cents, don't do crimes. However, whatever crime they're in there for, like if I were in there for some crime, would you want a woman convicted of 3 murders, like advocating for you? What is her point? Because she's going to do life. So even if her child took 9 years, she's still going to be in prison, right? And she's like, they've had 5 years. Well, you've also had 5 years, right? It's the same that we saw with Sarah Boone. Like, you may have a new prosecutor in this case. I mean, you may have a new attorney representing you. In this case, you're representing yourself. You've had 5 years also, ma'am. So what is your point? I would be advocating for myself in the best way possible for myself, because the verdict only is for me. It's not for these other women. Also, she's connecting a false, how do I want to say it? So the fact that if she asks for a continuance, she's technically waiving her speedy trial, but it doesn't mean they're going to push it back 8 years. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, the judge made the point because she was like, this is highly prejudicial and unfair. And he was just like, there's sometimes reasons why attorneys wait. And she was like, I know, and that's not fair to me. And he was like, no, because they're not ready. So if she had asked for a continuance when he offered it to her, it may have been pushed back 3 months, 6 months, but not 8 years. Do you know? So I'm sure the reporter knows that and is just being gracious and listening. She's not one of those heavy hitters. Although I'm going to link this video because I highly recommend you watch it. She does ask some pointed questions, and there's someone off in the corner. One of them, she asked about the children, and the person basically directs her to move on from there. But Lori says it's like a family tragedy. Was it your mental state that was the tragedy, Lori? Because what? Anyway, let's hear the rest of her story about these other women.
He dealt with 2 judicial systems, right? Has no intention of giving anybody a speedy trial, even though it's your constitutional federal right, okay? So what I am fighting for these women, I'm fighting for these women and trying to set a precedence here that you can't just leave these women in jail for years, because the conditions at the prison, if you do get convicted, are a million times better than they are at the jail. Jails are not designed. They're not designed.
So there's something else going on if they're there 8 years. I'm sorry, like, are they not bond eligible? Are they all there on death penalty cases? Are they all there facing life? I don't know how what she's doing is going to prevent people from having 8, 9 years. Like, Sarah's own behavior in the Sarah Boone case dictated how long her case took, right? Because she kept calling her attorneys liars, which forced them to no longer be able to represent her. And then kept pretending like she didn't know why they were leaving. So she was there for nearly 5 years from her own actions, right? They may or may not be convicted, but they've got to do, I mean, I don't know what does she want them to go ahead and go to prison prior to conviction? I just don't, oh, look at that. Where I froze her, I just realized that. Someone was giving me a hard time because I posted a picture of her on the post tab, and they were, I was saying the glow down was real, and they're like, oh, you're disparaging her looks. No, I'm not. Like, it is a known fact when women go to jail, or anyone goes to jail or prison, the glow down is always real. The stress of it all, the non-healthiness of it all. And at the end of that, I put, don't do crimes. I'm not talking about her beauty or lack thereof. I'm just talking like she looks less healthier, and she finally has that damn smirk wiped off of her face, right? We saw her in Hawaii when Nate Eaton was there, like, where are your kids? And she was like, I don't know. So yeah, that she doesn't have that face anymore because she's being held accountable for her crimes. But let's let her finish on this bit.
All over the country, jails are not designed to let you stay long term. The average person in jail goes 3 months. You're in there for 8 years.
Also, average person 3 months, but there are some sentences that it's just jail time. I think it's 13 months or less in most states. I have not been to all 50 states and researched this, but in general, you can do a year as part of your sentence in jail if that's what your, conviction sentence is.
Had teeth pulled out all over. You don't have any kind of thing that you need here. So I talked to my attorneys and said, I need to go. And they said, we can't do it because I agreed with them, right? Because I said, from their professional stand, they want to go to court prepared. Right? I'm a hairstylist. I used to charge tons and tons of money in Austin, Texas to do hair. So I'm not going to charge someone $400 to do their hair and let them walk out the door and not let it look good because that's my reputation. So I talked to my attorneys. I said, I understand where you're coming from. I understand 100%.
Side note, $400 for your hair is on the low side, at least where I've lived, New York, LA. I don't know what's going on in Austin, but if that's tons and tons of money, let's all go get our hair done in Austin.
I don't want to put you in the position where you're saying, I can't do a good job for you. I can't do this for you in this amount of time. But I've been working on my case for 5 years. So I know my case better than an attorney can learn it in 2 years. But here's the thing. When you waive your speedy trial, then they can keep you here as long as they want.
So that is absolutely not true, right? So she's conflating things, not as long as you want. Because like I said, when he offered her a continuance, that would have technically been waiving her speedy trial, but she still would have been calendared for this year. Like, what are we in 25? Like, can you imagine them moving it out to 2030 or beyond? Like, what she's saying makes no sense. And yes, she has a point that she's been dealing with it for 5 years, so she knows the details of the case. But like, ma'am, you're not a digital forensic analyst, so you can't understand like the download of Charles's phone. Do you know what I'm saying? So I just feel like, I don't know if she believes it or not, but a lot of her thinking is sort of circular and just odd. And also, I don't know if I said this at the top, her jury was selected on April Fool's Day, right? So she has 13 men, 3 women. I talked about it with the members yesterday. 4 of them are alternate, so she could potentially have all men who deliberate and decide her guilt or innocence. And I just feel like it's going to backfire on her. Everybody's like, oh, that's what she wanted. And her attractiveness, first of all, she was attractive. Right now, she looks scary to me. Those eyebrows, her hair looks good. And I did research because I'm nosy. So in the prison systems, most of them allow you to buy dye. I don't know if guards are watching you because there are some, especially when you're lightening your hair, there are some corrosive ingredients, right? Anyway, in jail, they don't have that. So maybe those are one of the perks that she's enjoying in prison. And I also have heard on the interwebs that the meals in prison are tasty. At least that's what I've heard about the Florida prisons. I don't know about all of them. Again, I'm not in all 50 states. I'm not researching all the prisons. But I don't know. I don't think that'll be in her favor that there's 13 men. I think they will be more likely, like eyebrows aside, to kind of see through her BS and her little girly talk and how she's not crisp with her words. She misses a lot of the endings, right? I think that's to appear younger or maybe dainty. I don't know. So like a damsel in distress sort of thing. So we'll see. She wants to present that, but then she's also like feisty with the judge. So will she be able to suppress that behavior? Like when they were going on about the IP addresses, the internet protocol addresses, and she's like, well, what does that mean? And he's like, I don't know. Or what is this? And he's like, I've told you 5 times, right? So that kind of hostility, is that going to pop out? Who was that? I can't think of her name. Hidden True Crime said they were doing headsets instead of sidebarring at the bench there. But I wonder, I mean, you're still talking, like, is she going to snap at the judge with the headset on? I feel like they need to send the jury out when they do that, like they did with the Daryl Brooks case, right? Because he couldn't move at all. He was actually shackled to the desk and there was that skirt around there so you couldn't see it, or the table or whatever. I feel like they might end up going to that. I just don't see her being able to contain her rage. And I think the men will see that. Just like we had that third juror on Sarah Boone's jury who was like, yes, is this your verdict? Like before they even finished the sentence, he was like, yes. I think the men are going to see through her, that she was abusive toward her husband, that he was afraid, he genuinely loved her, he was trying to get her help. Because even when he was talking to the police, he was like, I just want to get her help. Like he wasn't trying to be vindictive or evil. Do you know, like some men are out, playing tit for tat. He genuinely seemed concerned about her while also concerned for his life. He literally said, she's trying to kill me. And they were like, well, what do you mean? And he was like, she said she's going to destroy me. And the officer was like, well, that doesn't mean she's going to kill you. Well, sir, how else do you destroy somebody? Like, financially? Like, why would she be saying that ahead of time and giving him a heads up? You know what I mean? So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. My plan this week is to do some early morning reactions to some of the interrogations. Like, I want to do Alex Cox interrogations. There's 2 of them. I want to do Lori's. Of course, it depends on Sugar Bear and Sweet Pea because this morning sickness. I know you guys can hear I'm kind of out of breath. Like, it's going to continue as my lungs get crushed. But I want to go over those in the morning, and then we'll do a recap in the afternoon. And for my boonies, I'm still working on reading the text. They're probably going to be recorded videos, and then we'll do a premiere. Because I definitely want to cover this case. And then we've got Corey Richins coming up on the 22nd. She just had a motion on the 17th about change of venue. So that'll be in a separate video. I want to dabble a little bit in Daryl Brooks because I didn't have my channel when he was around, but he's back in front of Darrow. And I have thoughts. I have opinions that I want to share. That's another video. So let me know what you think. Like I said, I'll link that interview down below. It's off the charts, man. It's off the charts. She still is not admitting to unaliving her children. And I wonder, I just feel like it's going to come in the trial. Like, I think her mouth is going to get her in trouble in that regard. And the fact that she asked a jury about, will you hold it against me if I don't testify? She's trying not to, which I think is wise because I don't think she's going to do well against the prosecutor. Like, they are already like tentacles out sitting next to each other. So I don't know, like, we'll see. Let me know your thoughts. I will talk to you down in the comments as always. Toodles.